Good day, fellow scapers. My name's Deck, but please call me Hobo, and welcome back to my channel. So as I've shown more of my account to you guys, I've received more and more comments telling me to sort out my bank, and as I'm pretty lazy, I have this to say: clean it up! Or, in English, I refuse. That being said, I am very quickly running out of space. All of the skilling outfits I own, as well as the raw materials and the accessories that I need for that Master Max cape, are quickly landing me in a big old spot of bother. And as I run out of space, it seems that I need to do something fast, otherwise I won't have space for all of my skilling stuff, or my favourite stuff, loot. So I got to looking, and I have found myself with an absolute ton of extra space that I had no idea even existed. So without any further ado, let's get right into it. So before we talk about the ways to get free bank space, it's worth comparing against what it would cost for the same type of space direct from Solomon's store. So to buy the space from Solomon's store, a bank booster with 50 spaces will set you back approximately 378 rune coins. This is the equivalent of 2 bonds that would give you those 390 rune coins, or if you were to purchase with real money, it would be approximately £8.99 UK. Now, it is worth mentioning there is a current deal in Solomon's where you have to effectively you pay half price. I suspect it's a members only deal, but if you've got some rune coins lying around and aren't interested in cosmetics, I would probably cash in around now. So we've talked about the cost of bank space and just how valuable it is. Of course, you can go through your bank like a bull in a china shop, throwing away all your rope, your buckets and your knickknacks that you've gathered over the last couple of years. But I've recently learned just how much of a pain that can be, especially when you've binned off something that I later needed. Specifically, I needed a key for the Mauritania hard diaries, and instead I'd thrown it away previously, and it took me hours to get it back. It was the most infuriating thing I think I've come across in RuneScape. Instead, nowadays, I have to think a little bit more innovatively to try and get that space, and I've found a multitude of ways to get around the bank space issue. So, space saving tip number 1. So the first space saver on the list is the large gizmo bag. Now the large gizmo bag stores up to 20 gizmos and is made from crafted parts, light components and precious components. To make this item, it will require 118 invention. However, if you're not there yet, you can craft the medium gizmo bag requiring 95 invention, or the small gizmo bag, which is 75 invention. Simple enough, and this is completely free. Of course, you'll need the parts, which aren't too expensive. Space saving tip number 2. Next up on the list is my absolute favourite new item. It's something that will cost a little bit upfront. However, for me, I found it to be absolutely worth it. This lovely little item is none other than the seed bag. This is made from a tradable drop from Croesus called the Spore Sack, and it's basically you use a couple more skilling rewards from around the Croesus area, and this will hold up to 40 different types of seeds, up to what used to be the old max cash stack. I use it to carry my herb seeds to take part in the herb of the day, which you can find from Politics in the Garden of Carid, and it means that I don't have to go into my bank to withdraw all of these seeds, as they are always on me. On top of this, I've started to collect seeds from miscellanea straight into my inventory. This is great as when I'm feeding my animals in my player-owned farms, because as I have those seeds on me at all times as well, I never need to dip back to the bank to feed, for example, my chinchompers, my jadinkos, and things like salamanders and frogs and spiders, etc. So what will this set you back? Well, as the Croesus Spore Sack currently sits on GE, it says 6 million. I bought it, however, at 36 million. I'm not sure if this is because I was impatient though, and the additional materials that are required, which you should see on the screen, will be less than 4 million cumulatively. For me, this costs a total of 40 million, and this is a huge saving on the 160 million that you would have spent for the 2 bonds. Now, before we get further into the video, I just wanted to say a massive thank yous to those of you who have been on this journey with me over the last couple of months. You see, about 6 months ago, I was diagnosed with cancer, and I had to take a little bit of time off work to deal with it. Now, during this time, instead of driving myself nuts, I said, well, you play the hand you dealt, and I've used this platform to escape from my own head, as well as a little bit of language therapy. I set myself a goal when I first started of at least 500 subscribers, and with 3,000 watched hours on YouTube. Again, to all of you who have subscribed, you helped me finally achieve that goal last week, and I couldn't be happier. But on to the best news. I'm officially in remission. However, I'm having way too much fun to stop here. I go back to work very soon, but still want to be releasing content to all of you who do enjoy it. That being said, if you haven't been with me on this journey and you want to see more of this type of content and you aren't part of the rugged team, let YouTube know. Subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, and I will aim to continue to bring you more content, even if I have less time to do so. Enough of the gab though, more onto the space saving tips. Space saving tip number 3. Okay, so the next item is absolutely free and is a must if you hate throwing stuff away. I'm of course talking about the Charos Clue Carrier, or the Charos Clue Carrier. I don't know, it's a bit of a tongue twister. Now, the Clue Carrier is a reward from the Desperate Times quest, and it will help you store all of your clue scrolls as well as the reward caskets, which means that you can save yourself an easy 9 slots with this must-have item. Space saving tip number 4. Next up is an item which costs absolutely no GP and instead will set you back some chump change dungeoneering tokens. It holds up to 60 of each uncut core gem. This is the upgraded gem bag and will cost you, including for the cost for the basic gem bag, 22,000 dungeoneering tokens. You can get it by talking to the rewards trader just outside of Demonheim. Space saving tip number 5. The next item on the list is the statue collection bag. Now, in truth, I've known about this one for some time, and it was only when I mentioned to someone that I'd bin the statue bits as they take up way too much room in my bank that a friend told me about the bag. To obtain a bag, speak to Marius Gist, or the Barnabas Herma at the Varrock Museum. Alternatively, you can speak to Oren Ithel in Prif Dinis. This will save you up to 62 spaces, storing both rocks, strange and golden. Space saving tip number G. The next piece isn't actually an item, but instead a function within the game, and it can be accessed via any anvil, forge, furnace, burial anvil, burial forge, or box, or through the regular bank interface. I am, of course, talking about the metal bank. Now, the metal bank can store up to 2.1 billion of each core material, both mined and smithed, of which there are 27 items. Therefore, 27 potential spaces saved. If you have any of those bars or ores in your bank with no plans to use them in the near future, dump them into your metal bank instead. Space saving tip number 7. Now, being someone who is endgame and have been for some time, I have experienced the annoying shards in the bank that you get from skilling. No, I'm not talking about the statue shards. I'm talking about the skill cape shards. Enter the skill cape shard bag. This bag is completely free and obtainable from Diango, and if you have yet to get all of the shards required to craft your various capes, dump them in here and forget about them. In total, there are 28 shards, so yet another 27 spaces saved. Space saving tip number 8. Now, I have to say, I really wish I had known about this prior to last month. I have done some activities on Anachronia which have resulted in my obtaining various parts of the 8 different totems that you can use for various buffs. Now, each totem requires 3 components, and at the time, I didn't have a complete set. So what did I do? Well, I'll tell you what I didn't do, and that is Google bank saving spaces. No, I dumped the lot from my bank for an extra couple of spaces. Sad times. Don't do what I did. Instead, speak to either Alphaeus or Eliza at the Anachronia base camp with a totem piece, and they will give you the bag to help you save up to 23 extra spaces in your bank. Easy peasy. Of course, there are an entire plethora of different ways that you can save yourself space in your bank. Things like sending certain bits to Diango to look after, or obviously, dumping stuff directly from your bank. But I'm not going to teach you how to suck eggs. So this is where I'm going to leave the video. As I said previously, if this is the kind of content that you want to see on your feed, let YouTube know that you like my stuff, and they will be sure to send more your way. In the meantime, let me know what you didn't have in your bank to save your space, and also let me know how many spaces you've actually saved. For now though, that's it for this video, so thank you so much for watching, and I hope to catch you in my next RuneScape misadventure. Happy scaping.